And we can always take the background off too, right? Maybe we'll do that when we get a second. So welcome to our coach information session tonight. My name's David Lowe. I'm the VP of the Dragons, and with me is Ken Pedersen, who is Director of Coaching Development. We've done this presentation every year for the last few years to answer questions that new or coaches, people who are thinking about coaching might have. We will try to get you out of here in an hour. The presentation is really only about 20 minutes. And then we got lots of time for questions and answers. So we're there mostly for questions and answers for you guys. All right. I just got to figure out what to do. So you guys see my screen. I'm going to go to slide number 2. So we got the agenda here. Introductions. We're going to talk about why coaching at the Dragons. What does it take to become a Dragons coach? Benefits of being a Dragons coach. Head coach incentive program. Some coaching do's and don'ts. A little bit about concussions and Rowan's Law. And coaching resources that we have on the website. And of course, we have room for questions and answers after that. Why coach at the Dragons? At the Dragons, we are all volunteers except for our office manager and our head referee. Our office manager is paid. That's Curry in the bottom right. You can see Curry, who's working hard in the office, although she's past her time to go home, but she's putting in extra hours because her season's coming up in a week. Anyway, we are all volunteers here at the Dragons. And we run, it's a volunteer-based organization, so the coaches are all volunteers as well, as you know. Get involved in your kids' activities. If you have to take them to the field, you're going to be there anyway. Certainly community involvement is great. We want to encourage, our kids to become volunteers in the future, so they look up to their parents, and the parents coach as well, shows community involvement. Obviously impart our wisdom and experience to kids. Opportunity to bring new ideas and improvements to the club. Every year we have our coach appreciation night at the end of the year, and we ask coaches for improvements. And of course, you get a little bit of a workout on the field with the kids running around, playing some soccer, that sort of thing. So some good reasons why you should coach. What you need to coach the Dragons, of course, patience, because you're coaching anywhere from 10 kids, maybe at the younger age groups, up to, if you're coaching U18, you might have 20 kids on the team. So obviously you need some patience, like you would if you had a group of kids. Positive attitude, of course, always helps. Calm temperament. We want to show the kids to look up to us. Ability to manage different behaviors, because not everybody's going to be the same. So we have some kids who are going to be anxious, some kids who are gung-ho, some kids who are shy at the beginning, some kids who might not want to be away, let's say at the 4, 5, 6 age group from mom and dad for too long. So, you have to be flexible a little bit about that. But as I said it to a lot of parents at the younger age group, if you can organize your kid's birthday party, you can probably do a good job being a Dragons coach, because we do provide a lot of resources. And you just need to be a little bit organized and print off a practice plan and go to the field to do that. And of course, a little bit of a commitment, because you're going to be the coach of the team or the assistant coach. Commitment doesn't mean that you have to be there for every game in practice. We recognize, like everybody, that you want to take holidays with your family and be away for a number of weeks. And that's normal. So don't feel that you have to be there for every game and every practice. Pardon me? Change my view to do what? Not sure what Curry wants. Curry, if you want me to change the view, I'll make it bigger. Okay. Curry wants me to make the view bigger, because anyway, you can only see half. Just a minute, guys. There, I'm getting some feedback from our office manager.
It's just a comment in the chat to make the screen wide. So you're in view mode.
Okay.
You want me to come over there?
But sure, if you want to come over, sort it out, because you guys only see half the screen. Is that it? And you see the other half of people on the screen. Is that it?
Oh, a lot of it is gray space.
Oh, I see. They don't see that part. Okay, give me just a sec for technical issues.
So let's see.
Want me just to make the whole thing bigger?
Yeah, can you do it in presentation mode? Or would that take up your whole screen? Slideshow, yeah. Yeah, so you want to be able to see Payable, I understand, but I don't know if you can have your cake and eat it too in this one.
Okay.
Try this one. Is that what that's in? Nope, that's worse. There. It's probably a little bit better.
It's too bad I can't make it bigger. So I page down. Okay, so what did I see? Benefits, right? Coach appreciation night. Sorry about that, guys. Little technical issues there. I can't see the chat while I've got the people up on the screen. I'm not sure if you see my whole screen or not, or if you see half of us and then half of the Dragons presentation. I'm hoping you're seeing the whole presentation. If not, put something in the chat and Curry or Adrian will see it. Is that better? Norman. Okay. Coach appreciation night at the end of the year. We invite all the coaches to come in for appreciation, and we have refreshments and food, and we have a good time for a couple of hours and talk about how the season went and ask for improvements. Some forms to complete for a head coach, coaching application form. We get all the coaches to do a police vulnerable sector records check as well. We do cover the cost of all that. So what you do is you pay the fee up front. We keep your receipt, keep proof of certification, and then you send those into the office. And at the end of the year, we cover all of those costs for training for you. For U8 and up, we have a game sheet that we ask the coaches to fill in. So you can fill it in at the beginning of the year, just has all your kids' names on it. You give it to the referee before the game. And if ever there's an injury, we don't have too many injuries in soccer, but there can be 1 or 2 injuries in the year. There's an injury incident report form to fill out, but don't really need to worry about that right now. Coach incentive program, we'll talk a little bit about that. We have a coaching incentive program for head coaches at the U8, U7 and above, and that is to encourage coaches to teach the Ontario Soccer and Canada Soccer approved, they're not approved, but recommended coaching activities that are part of what's called long-term player development. So if you are the head coach of a team and you take the certification, the Ontario Soccer certification for that age group, plus you do Respect in Sport course, we will refund you at the end of the year the cost of the early bird registration. So basically, your child gets to play for free if you follow the coaching. The coaching, Ontario Soccer coaching clinics, there's 2 parts to those. There's an in-person and an online part. So the online parts you do first. I think they're $15 this year. Canada Soccer is reducing the fees for that. And it's about, I'm going to say, less than an hour to do the online part. And then there's a practical part that you sign up for and you come in, and they are for the U7, U8, it's a half a day, and for all of the rest, it's 1 day. It'll be at the Dragons office here. And again, you register through our website, you pay, Curry admits you into the course, and then after that, we refund you the course. Once you show up and do the whole course, then we refund you the price of the course. So it's all for free. Oops, we already talked about that. A little to-do checklist before the start of the season. So receive the team roster and practice field locations from the age group directors. I expect that many of you are wondering when that's going to happen. The age group directors are very busy doing their teams right now. One of the biggest issues that we have at the beginning of the year is trying to find coaches for all teams. So if anybody's on the call tonight wondering whether I should be a coach or not, please put your name forward and be a coach. We're certainly there to help you out. We have people like myself or Ken who are available to give coaching tips, maybe come out to your field if the coaching nights don't conflict with the ones where we're coaching, give you some help. So the age group directors, as I said, are making their teams right now. They will be sending out the information probably sometime this week. Our coach equipment pickup is going to be this Saturday, so all of the coaches will be notified before Saturday of the time to pick it up. So you'll get your roster and practice field location from the age group director. You'll send an email to all of the players' parents on your team, and you request an email confirmation. That's what I always do, because when they register, sometimes between the time they register and the time you send out the email, their email address may have changed, and so I always ask them to confirm by email. If they don't confirm by email, generally I give them a call just to make sure that they get the right email from them. They've received it. And as I mentioned, pick up the coach equipment bag. It's May 13th. We'll be here from 9 to 3, but the age group directors will send out more of a targeted time. You don't have to come in the targeted time, but we always appreciate if you come in the targeted time. Let's say, for example, 9 to 11 might be one age group, because the age group director will be there, and it's a good opportunity to meet the age group director and ask any questions you have to the age group director, the person that's going to be sending you information during the summer. But if you can't make it that time, we're going to be here from 9 to 3. Drop in any time, and we'll give you your coach equipment, the bag, the team uniforms, and everything that you need to coach. At the start of the season, you can certainly ask parents for help. You're not there to do the whole thing yourself. In my experience, I found that parents are keen to volunteer as soon as there's a coach who's been identified. But when there's not a coach been identified, they sometimes don't want to volunteer. So if you present yourself as the coach, many parents will want to help out or be available to help out. You can ask for people for assistant coaches, team manager. You might have somebody who works in the healthcare service, like a doctor or a nurse, who might be like, there to help for injuries. At 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, really, there's no injuries there. They kind of fall down and get a scratch on their knee or something. But, later on, there could be a twisted ankle or something like that. At the start of the season, of course, introduce yourself, your assistant coaches, team manager at the first practice, and distribute the uniforms. And just as a little note, there are different size uniforms. So make sure that the smallest kid on the team doesn't get the biggest uniform, because that's their favorite number. So try to identify the uniforms by the size of the players. During the season, send out practice and game reminders. Everything's on our website, but it's always good, I find, to send out a reminder to the team, asking who's not going to be there, so you have an idea if the numbers are going to show up. Prepare a practice plan, training plan before each practice, and those are all available on our website now, thanks to Curry. They actually posted them on our new website under the coaching information there. Obviously, if you're at your older age group, communicate some positions and tactics to the players, right? Your setup there, your lineman, if you're whatever you're going to play, if you're playing 5 kids on the field, are you going to play 2 defense, 1 midfield, 2 forwards, or 2-2-1, or what you're going to do? So you talk to them about, obviously, before the game. Fill out the game sheet and submit it to the referee before each game. At U8 and up, at U7, there are no referees. At U8, we start with referees. And after the end of the season, return the equipment on soccer day, attend the coach appreciation night, and provide any feedback you have on improvements. We do provide a document called the Dragons Handbook, which is available on our website under, I'm guessing it's about policies. It's got all the information that you need to know about a coach, the rules for your age group. My advice would be to read the handbook, certainly the part about your age group. There's lots of information there. It's available in English and French. It talks about the code of conduct, for example, for coaches, players, and parents. Then you can always refer to that if you have parents who are not behaving themselves on the sidelines. At the younger age group, of course, that shouldn't happen. Sometimes at the older age group, people see on soccer, on TV, that people are screaming at the referee, and parents feel that they have the right to be yelling at the referee. Remember that the referees are our kids as well. They're young players, and that our Dragons policy is not to be talking to the referee. So if you have parents who are not following the code of conduct, you can certainly show them the code of conduct from the handbook and say you're supposed to respect this. And remember, they all signed the code of conduct when you registered your kids to play too, that you're going to respect the rules of soccer. The handbook covers the laws of the game for minis, micros, and youth. Talks a little bit about concussions, ball heading, not to start before U12, for example. What kind of equipment you get. We have an air quality, weather policy, etc. Those are all on the website as well. Goes over harassment policies and some game procedures too. The fair play commitment for coaches. As I mentioned, I won't go through all of these. It's all on the handbook, but number 7 I've highlighted. If I disagree with an official, I will accept the decision and not argue the call. So stuff will happen in soccer. You may lose a game because of a call that the referee didn't see. We're a recreational club. We're not playing to win the World Cup. As I said, the referees are learning as well. Players make mistakes on the field. Referees make mistakes. So we are there to encourage everybody, both teams and the referee. So we ask that you follow the fair play commitment for coaches. What else we got for players? We have a fair play commitment for players as well. This is all pretty common sense stuff. Number 4, for example, I will respect my opponents. I will be a team player. There's a part about respecting the referees as well. Our policy at the Dragons is not policy really, but our vision is 100% fun soccer. We want everybody to have fun. As I mentioned, we're not out there to win the World Cup, so we're trying to promote fun soccer for everybody. And parents, of course, we have a fair play commitment for parents. I always remember one of my coaches or coach mentors told me the two things that you want to say to your kid on the way home from the game is, I enjoyed watching you play, and what do you want to eat? And then never talk about how the game went, right? Because they don't want to necessarily talk about that. Do's for a coach: communicate often with your parents and players. If this happens generally in life, the more you communicate, the better things are. Be prepared for practice, make it well-structured, active, and fun. Be punctual for games and practices, so show up on time or show up ahead of time. If you have to set up a net, if you're coaching at an age group where there's a net that you have to set up, you should arrive and set up the net earlier before the players arrive, or designate that to some of the tallest parents on the team, which was always the case with me because I'm over 6 feet. I always was putting up nets. Be positive, enthusiastic, and have fun. Dress appropriately, so wear soccer-related stuff there. No, don't show up in sandals for practice, for example. At games, we ask that you ask parents to sit on the opposite side of the field from the players, so kind of like have the players on one side and the parents on the other. That's just because, and maybe not obviously at the U4, U5 level because they want to be with their kids. There's really no official games at that age group. But at the older age groups, it helps in terms of controlling the kids and where they are. If you have to make a line change and half of them are down with mom and dad, etc., like that, it's better that they're there. Another tip that I learned from Ontario soccer course that I took when the kids were smaller, I would bring a blanket and put the blanket out, and they would all sit on the blanket when they were waiting their turn to go on, so they were always in that same area and they were cheering on their teammates. All players should get equal playing time, so we would just rotate the kids through, right? If there's no, like, the best player doesn't get all of the time, then we're not about that at the Dragons. It's recreational soccer. It should be equal playing time for everybody. Before the game, introduce yourself to the other team's coach. You know, it's a friendly environment. Introduce yourself. Encourage your team and encourage the opponent. We're there to support all of the kids. And certainly teach fair play, respect, and sportsmanship, and set an example, I think, is what we would like for all of the coaches to do. Do's again, focus on player development. I highlighted this one, not on winning. It's very important. Some of the kids, all of the kids have the right to become better soccer players, and one who is smaller and may not score as many goals at 5, 6, 7 may be the tallest kid on the team at U18. So we want to encourage them all to develop and to have fun in a 100% fun atmosphere. Know the laws of the game. Also review the handbook. I said do a proper warm-up. You can always ask the referee for an explanation of a call, but in a polite way at halftime or after the game, but not challenging the referee. Praise good play, creativity, and improvement, not just goals. So it's not necessarily about winning, it's about player development. And inform the parent if the child is injured, of course. That's kind of common sense stuff, but we put that in there because at the older age groups, right, somebody could fall and the parent may not be there. If they're 16, 17, or 18, they may drop them off, or the child may take their bike to the field, and if the child gets injured, they may not want mom and dad to know, but as a coach, we should be letting mom and dad know. I talked to this a little bit before, don't argue the call with the referee, don't argue with the other team's coach, because we're not really setting a good example when we're doing that. Don't scold a player for making a mistake. We ask also that at the older age groups, we not run up the score there. We have a maximum 8-goal spread, but we really don't want to get there. It's no fun for either team. If one team's winning 8-0, it's no fun if you're losing 8-0, and the winning team, it's no fun for them either. So we have some ideas in the handbook for how to manage that. For example, by placing your better scorers on defense, or by asking them to all try to kick with their weaker foot, or make so many passes before they shoot on the net, or something like that. Don't direct the game from the sidelines. Let the kids make the decisions on the field. Don't tell them to pass here or pass there, etc. Don't leave on a child unattended at the end of a game or practice. And I mentioned the rule of 2. The rule of 2 is always to have 2 parents. For if there's a child who's left behind, there shouldn't be any child that's there unattended up until 12. The parents are required to stay at the field up until then, including 12. But let's say that at 16 years old, the parent drops the child off to play, and it starts to rain, and the game is canceled, and you are there with your child and the other child who's there by themselves. it's great if you can grab another parent and ask another parent to stay till all of the kids are picked up, right? So that's the rule of 2. Don't try to win at all costs. It's about having fun. And of course, don't take yourself too seriously. The more crazy stuff you can do, especially with the younger kids, the more fun they will have. Game procedure, I'll talk a little bit about this. So this is for U8 and up. We do ask that we fill in a game sheet. That is to make sure that only registered players participate in the game. That players, if they have received a yellow or red cards, do serve their suspension. And it also assists the referee in completing discipline reports. For example, if the referee issues a yellow card in the game sheet will tell the referee will know which player is getting the yellow card. And then we follow up. We have a discipline committee and we follow up. We don't get very many yellow and red cards at the Dragons because we're all about fun, but it does happen. Most often the U16 and U18 boys when the testosterone starts to come in, but very few generally in the end. What did I see there? Yeah, we got that. So Rowan's Law. So this is new since 2022. You've seen this probably when you registered at the Dragons for this year, or if you play in any other sports. The province of Ontario has mandated that there be what they call a designated person at each sporting event, and a designated person is somebody who's going to pull the child out of the game if there is a possibility or suspicion of a concussion. So there's a removal from sport and a return to sport protocol that we've adopted based on the Ontario legislation that's on our website. We're asking the coaches to be a designated person. So to inform yourself, there's a video that you can watch on the website. It's a very short video. There you can read a 1 page of information about it, to be aware. And that generally, again, that's at the older age groups, because they could, for example, if 2 people go up for a header and they hit their heads, or if the goalie slides into the post or something like that, there is a potential for a concussion there. It can be a coach, an assistant coach, or a parent, but we're requesting that every team have a designated person to pull somebody out of the game or the rest of the game if there's a suspicion of a concussion. There's a whole protocol that we follow, but if that happens, pull the person out of the game, email the office to let us know that that's happened, and then we can help you follow through the procedures, all right? Coaching tools for people on the Dragons website under more information, coaches. There's a whole series of practice plans from Ontario Soccer that are there. I think their office staff has posted 24 different lesson plans for the 3 different age groups, Active Start, Fundamentals, and Learn to Train. Soccer for Life may be coming up afterwards, or it's all on the website too. There's a link to the Ontario Soccer website. There's also videos of practices that Ontario Soccer has run, so you can get some ideas from that website. So very useful information for new coaches. And of course, the Dragons Handbook. I mentioned that before. Read that if you can. There's lots of tips in there. So we're on to the question and answer part of the evening. So I will stop sharing my screen, and I will see if I can make this bigger so I can see everybody. So there we go. So we're open to questions from anybody about anything in particular. Steve, go ahead. Steve Rogers, or maybe there are more than one Steve.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the presentation. Greatly appreciate it. This is my first year officially coaching my son's soccer team, and I say officially because I've unofficially done it in the past. A couple questions. Knowing that I will follow up to the call tonight by reading the handbook and the stuff on the website. So some of these questions, if the answer is read the handbook, feel free to say read the handbook. You talked about there's 3 things I really have a question about. In one of your don'ts, it says don't direct the game from the sideline. Obviously, not yelling Paul, pass to Jamie kind of thing. I get that, but encouraging them loudly to do things like spread out or don't bunch up, things like that. Like, I'm assuming those kind of things are acceptable.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. What I meant is that I've seen some coaches saying exactly what you said initially. Like if Paul has the ball and Jamie's open, okay, pass it to Jamie, and then Jamie passed it to so-and-so and passed it to so-and-so.
So like orchestrate.
Yeah, you don't want them, because you want them for the kids to kind of to make the decisions on the field themselves. But for sure, if somebody's like, you can encourage them, spread out, you know, if you have a team policy of like when we have the ball, we go wide, and when the other team has the ball, we shrink down or something like that. You can have, you know, keywords or something like that. For example, like, you know, if you know, might say like pineapple is a keyword that makes them do something. So you scream out pineapple and they all know, then you say pineapple or whatever word you want to use, so that makes it fun for the kids, you know, then they know to do something. But yeah, but the idea was that, you know, you don't want them to be doing what the coach is going to say all the time, because what happens in the end is that they always look over at the coach when they get the ball because they don't know what to do, right? And then we don't want that to happen. So
also too, you don't get a chance to see them making mistakes that you can actually give adjustments to in the next practice or something like that too.
Yeah, no, I fully understand. I just wanted to confirm that, I mean, that line is a little, depending on how excitable some people are, that line can be blurry, but I just wanted to make sure that the coach was allowed to say something from the sidelines in an interest of coaching, but not orchestrating the gameplay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you want to encourage good plays. If they make a good play or a great save by the keeper, things like that, for sure. You want to say that. Yeah.
What kind of numbers are, this could be in the handbook, so this may very well be an answer of go read the handbook, which I get it if it is. What kind of numbers are we talking about on the field? Like, are we playing sevens aside, or does that depend on the amount of people at the game, or how does that working out?
So what age group are you coaching, Steve?
U11.
U11. So U11 is 9v9 on the field. So you're playing 9 versus 9 on an intermediate field. And that's so you should have no more than, you know, 18 kids on the team. And what'll happen is that the first practice or the first game, everybody will show up. So you'll have 2 full lines, and then sort of 3 weeks into holiday season, and half the kids will show up, and you might not have enough for 9v9, right? So I know it can be frustrating a little bit at the beginning when you have 2 full lines and the kids are on the sideline, but we do that because in the middle of the season the people drop off. So
okay, that makes sense. One last question, and I'll mute myself and let other parents ask questions. You mentioned equipment at the start that we can pick up this weekend, which I fully plan to. What, just in case there's supplemental equipment that I could provide or bring, like what is provided in the equipment package?
Yeah, in the equipment package, you're going to get uniforms for the team that they keep. You're going to get a ball each for the players for the season, and then they return those at the end of the season at your age group. So there'll be 1 ball per player, so that when you go to practice, each child has a ball to use. We have discs, so the little flat discs and the cones that we have that. You get corner flags. You'll have a net. So because sometimes when you're playing at a field where there's not a net, you'll have to put the net up. So each coach will have 1 net in their bag. So when you go to a game that's on the field, other than let's say at Potvin, where we have the net set up already, you put up 1 net at one end and the other coach puts up the other net. There's a ball pump in there. There's a first aid kit. Some pennies. There's a keeper kit as well. A keeper kit has goalie gloves and different color penny for the keeper, because in the summertime, you know, if it's 30 degrees outside, you don't want to necessarily have the keeper put on a long sleeve goalie shirt there. It's hot to begin with, so it's quicker just to put the penny on the child if you're subbing the goalie as well at the same time. I think that's what we've got. Generally, there's enough stuff in there to run a practice with the cones and the discs and the balls. If any of it breaks in the summertime, then bring your broken piece into the office and we'll try to get you a replacement part. Generally, what sometimes breaks are the corner flags, because they're PVC pipe, they're electrical pipe that we screw together. Those sometimes break. So.
Okay, perfect, excellent. That answers all my questions. I will mute and let others ask away. Thank you very much.
Okay. Welcome, Steve. Thank you for coaching at the Dragons there officially this year. So, and you also the coaches get a fancy, fashionable red polo shirt too that you'll wear, so that the players will be able to identify you on the field. It'll be like this, but it'll be red. So, very fashionable, I think. Anyway. Any other questions? I'm sure there's lots of questions. There we go. Robert. Oh, we got Robert number 2. Is there number 1 on there? Robert, I think. Yeah. And then we got Stéphane. So
Stéphane, yeah.
Robert, go ahead. Robert Robertson. Hey, I just say you guys can answer. Vous pouvez parler en français aussi si vous avez une question en français. Désolé, j'ai pas mentionné ça au début. So Robert, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for taking the time to go through all these things for us. I've never coached at the Dragons, so I have 4 questions here on my sheet. So I have my daughter. I'm just wondering, would I be coaching my daughter?
Yes.
I would assume so, yeah.
Yes. Yes. for
So
sure.
the season starts when exactly?
So we get the field from the city of Ottawa on Monday, May the 15th.
Okay.
The nights of play are listed on our website. I'm not sure how old your daughter is, but if
She's 9.
she's 9,
9,
so
yeah.
she'll be either Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. The first week is we've identified as practice only, so the actual kind of real season will start the week after next.
Okay.
So this
so
week you'll.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, pick up your soccer equipment this weekend. You'll have your coaching list by then. You'll have your practice field. You can organize practice if you want this coming week with the team to get the team together, hand out the uniforms, introduce everybody, have some fun, sort of get to know who's there, something like
Okay,
that.
so I can start coaching now even before the 3 courses that are mandated,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Okay,
for sure.
and on that topic, the training courses, the mandatory ones, I got that you mentioned the certified coach and the coach application and the police check that is refunded after. What about the courses? I don't know if I heard anything about reimbursement there upon completion of the course, or is that out of pocket?
No. So it's all paid for, covered by the Dragons, and just to clarify, the courses are not mandatory. They're mandatory if you want the coach incentive program.
Okay.
You can be a coach with us without taking the training, but we prefer obviously the coaches, if they have the time, to take the training, because you end up teaching the kids the proper stuff.
Absolutely.
And I'll give you an example. For me, when I played soccer, I played, men's premier in Ottawa, and the first practice I did with my kids at U5 was trying to get them to pass the ball back and forth to each other. And that was a disaster, because at U5, they don't pass to each other. They just want their ball, and they want to keep their ball. And then I did the training the following weekend, and I learned that I was totally out of it. I shouldn't be getting them to pass the ball at all. I should be doing individual dribbling with the kids. So the Ontario soccer courses are very beneficial, and you learn what's age appropriate to teach, but they're not mandatory, but we do refund them. So you have to pay for the course itself, and then save your receipt and send your receipt into the office with your certification, and then we will refund you that. So there is no cost for any training for our coaches at the Dragons.
Okay. Sorry. I said I only had 4, but I have a few. You did mention something about the child would play free. Is that upon completions of those courses, or just simply coaching?
So yeah, you have to take the coaching incentive program for your child to play for free, or for you to get refunded the early bird registration price. Is we require the coach to be the head coach of U7 and above, and to have taken the appropriate training. So the Respect in Sport, and the Ontario Soccer coaching course for that age group.
Okay,
and
perfect.
So there are 2 components for that, right? There's the online part, which is an hour. And there's the in-person one. There's also the police records check as well, but that's, it's not a course, but so you have to send an email to the office. The office will give you a letter. The letter says the Gloucester Dragons have identified Robert Robertson as a coach, and we are requesting to get a police records check, and you take that into, not sure if you have to go in there. You might be able to do it online now still. I forget. I always have to go in because they take my fingerprints every year. There's a bad David Lowe in the world somewhere, and every year I have to do that. But anyway, I digress. But you take it into the police, they send it back to you, and then we get the police records check for that. So there's a little bit of time involved in that, but it's not a training course, right? And there's no fee for that. Okay,
great. Thank you. Sorry, everyone. I'm asking quite a few questions.
The questions are probably questions that other people have as well, right?
Okay. So I hope so. Just 2 really quick. My 13-year-old daughter, I think it would be a great experience for her in leadership qualities if she could be my assistant. Is that something that's possible?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. And last one, I will be out of town for 1 week in July. What happens when a coach misses a practice or a game?
So it's, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's not that big of a deal. People take holidays. So what you will do is you will identify, hopefully in the first couple of weeks, you might get a couple of parents who are keen on being assistant coach.
Okay.
And I would be proactive and ask the parents when you send out your first welcome messages, hi, I'm the head coach. I'm always looking for volunteers. I'm going to be away for this week, etc. Need some help. And generally people will show up and help you out. So then the week before you go at the last, whatever, if it's a practice or game, you would just give them the coaching bag to the assistant coach or to a parent, and that parent would come and organize the team for the following week, do the practice and the game.
Okay, great. And that's all for me. Thank you everyone for your patience.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for coaching, Robert. Over to Stefan.
Hi, thanks for the presentation, and those are great questions, Robert. No issues. So mine is I'm coaching U6, so from what I understand, a lot of the stuff doesn't really apply to that level. But I just want to make sure I'm like done everything that I need to do. So as far as the police check, I think I read that it wasn't necessary for U6, but do I still have to get it done?
It's not necessary, but they're good for 3 years. So if you're going to be coaching, if you're interested in coaching with us the following year, U7, and of course we would like you to be interested with us in coaching at U7, you can get it done, and then it's good for 3 years.
All right, I might just kick the can down the road for a year though.
Yeah, I get that. The reason that it's not mandatory is that at that age group, all of the parents are going to show up with their kids, and they're going to be there, and the child is going to have mom or dad or grandmom or granddad or somebody like that to go to if there's an issue, right? They hurt themselves or something like that. Yeah.
As far as the coaching itself on the field, I think somebody was saying that there might be like student volunteers actually doing most of the coaching. So I'm really like just cheering.
Yeah. So at U4, U5, and U6, we have stations that are run by youth coaches who are older Dragons or people who have played with us who are no longer playing with us. So kids who are between 15 and 20, 22-ish. And the players rotate, the team rotates through the station. So your job is not really to coach the kids, but to organize the kids to go through the different stations. But you're certainly more than welcome, to jump in there and help out the youth coaches that are doing a drill. So, for example, I've run the program for a few years. You might have a drill where the kids have to run across the field without being touched by the youth coach. Well, so if the parent coach is in there as well, then it makes it a bit more exciting for the kids because they have two people that they have to avoid as opposed to one person. So you're certainly welcome to help out there.
Probably won't be able to help myself, so that's good.
So, yeah. And
okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks for volunteering then to coach at U6. Great. And what have we got? Somebody on the side there? I'm not sure.
Now it's Janelle, but Jeff did have a question and then he lowered his hand, and he was the first that we skipped initially. So can I suggest that we go for Jeff because he was the first and then we skipped him?
Okay. Oops, sorry about that, Jeff.
Thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So I have 3 kids in 3 different age groups. How does that work in terms of me getting assigned to one of their teams?
Did you volunteer to coach all 3 of them?
I have not. The form, my second question, the form to apply for coaching is down right now.
Okay. We'll look into that.
I will look into that.
You generally, when you fill out the coaching form there, you have spots. I think it's to fill out so you can request to coach two kids. We've never had somebody do 3 because I think you might have a conflict, but I guess it is possible if you have kids at each age group. Let's say on Friday night, you have a player that plays only on Friday nights and you have another one that does Monday, Wednesday, and the other one that does Tuesday, Thursday. So you would fill out on the coaching application form the name of the child and the age group that you want to fill out.
Okay. Is there any room for flexibility? Like, I'm an inexperienced coach and inexperienced soccer player in general, but happy to help and kind of put my name on a list if no one else signs up. Is that something that's possible?
Yeah, for sure. There's, depending on the age group, in general, we're always looking for coaches. If we're so lucky in that we have an age group where we have coaches identified for all teams, then you can certainly go as an assistant coach. But if we have somebody who's like yourself who's interested, I would say, I'm not sure what age group it is, but don't be afraid to step in there. The practice plans are available on the website. We try to support our coaches as much as we can. I think we do a pretty good job of supporting our coaches with the information that's there. As I mentioned, Ken, you can email Ken with questions. His information is on the board of directors, or sorry, on the website with our team there. I think under About Us, our team, Ken Pedersen, Director of Coaching. And if you want to start off with maybe one of your kids or two of them to see how it goes instead of three, and you put down for two if you want, if depending on the nights of play, right? So
yeah, okay, thanks. And I don't hit my schedule enough to book Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So
it would be a lot of soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to have a break. One year I did all nights except for Saturday, and that was too much. So
Yeah, I've done it for myself, and yeah.
All right, we'll go over to Janelle Bruce.
So I did complete the registration form for coaching for U4. My son's in that program. It was for assistant coach, and I haven't heard anything back. So it was one of those things. Is it does the office have any implication, or if it was, hey, we don't have a head coach. So, but I haven't heard anything back. So I'm just kind of wondering, what do I do in the meantime?
I would just sit tight, Janelle. I think that the age group director is organizing the teams at the moment, and it's a big age group, 4, 5, and 6, because we have a lot of registrations. We have to organize Wednesday and Friday because you have the option of Wednesday or Friday, and we try to place you generally in the area where you're from. So the age group director also has to build the teams in Orleans and Beacon Hill, etc. If you put yourself down to be like an assistant coach. At the U4 age group, I mean, you can certainly be the team manager to go around with the team at that age group. Really, it's communicating with the parents. The youth coaches are there to run the practice or to run the session that evening. So really, you're kind of like herding cats around the field to make sure that they're at the right stations at the right time. Okay, so there's you. Certainly, I think it's not a big deal to do that there. We've had parents last year that, stepped forward because there was nobody else on the team, and the woman was great who did it, right? Really enthusiastic. And sometimes people are concerned because they've never played soccer and they say, oh, I can't coach soccer, or, like it'd be like me, I never played different sports like football. How can I coach football? But at the younger age groups, it's just organizing the kids, and the youth coaches are there to do everything and to help you out as well, right? Set up the fields. If you're not sure about setting up the fields, the youth coaches will take care of that. You show up the field with your bag, open it up, the kids all take a ball, they run on the field, and the youth coaches take care of the rest, basically. We got Warren up next with a question. Warren, go ahead.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, I just had a question in regards to the coaching. I guess I'll be coaching U12, 13. I think that's the age group I'm in. So I've signed up for the Learn to Train program. But when I check on the website, it says that I'm not approved as status. Is that normal, or would that should I have a different status at this point?
I can get Curry to help us with that answer, but I believe that, have you paid for the course? Once you pay for the course, then Curry can approve you in the system. So that's my understanding. Curry, do you want to jump in there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just give me one moment to confirm. Coaching clinics, I've just got the system here. Yeah, so Warren, I can confirm that you haven't paid. I can add that link to the chat here. So essentially how this works is, to be able to approve you in Coach Center, I have to receive payment so that I can do the back end part of it. So once you've paid, I will accept your payment and approve you in Coach Center. And then once you've attended the in-person course and I have the attendance list, I would be able to refund you back onto your card within a week of receiving that information. So I will include that link to pay for coaching courses in the chat, okay?
Okay,
Is
great.
that,
Thank
does
you.
that help? Okay,
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Warren. Steve?
Yeah, I lied. I have more questions. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Two quick ones, I hope. One you mentioned earlier, and my son, who was bouncing in and out of here, is a soccer nut. So I remember someone at the start of this saying there's no headers for U11 or less. Is that true?
U12.
Yeah, we encourage no heading at starting at 12 years old, but it's not against the laws of soccer. So if in a game a U10 or U11 heads the ball, there won't be any. There's no foul. But because kids' brains are growing at the younger age group, there was a U.S. Soccer came out, they were one of the first groups to come out about 10, 15 years ago with a recommendation of no heading up before U12 or starting at U12. And so we adopted their policy many years ago, and we've stuck with it. And Canada Soccer has come up with the same sort of policy in the last few years. So.
Okay, I will. He was disappointed to hear that because he wants to do throw-ins and improper, indirect, and direct. Like we watch Premier League every Saturday, Sunday. Like, so he wants to do that. And I'm trying to tell him, like, that's not this, buddy. Like, we're just chill and we're having fun.
He'll get there.
I will try to get him to not do headers. The second thing, and more importantly, I would love to do the Learn to Training class, to sign up for this. The issue that I have is the in-class practical component for Learn to Train is on Sunday, May 28th. I have non-negotiable prior arrangements that day. Namely, it's my 40th birthday, so I'm kind of busy. So is there any flexibility of doing it at another time, or like what options do I have really?
So if you go under Coach Center and you search for that course, it'll list, and you search for the district of Eastern Ontario District Soccer, EODSA, Eastern Ontario District Soccer Association. They will list all of the courses at that course in Ottawa at different times, because it's not just the Dragons who are offering the course. Okay. There may be the Ottawa Internationals, or there may be somebody in the West End of Ottawa who's offering the course as well. Okay. So you're free to contact them through Coach Center to take it at another time. Okay.
Okay, and it would still, once I get the cert, like it would still apply for the coach incentive program.
Yeah, we would still cover the cost. Adrian says that there are 2 this weekend, actually. So if you wanted to do one this weekend, anyway, go on to the Coach Center and search the fundamentals. Did you say fundamentals there? Or active start? No, fundamentals. Learn to train. Learn to train. Yes, sorry. So Learn to Train. You go under Coach Center. You type in the Learn to Train and Eastern Ontario District Soccer Association, and they'll list all of the courses that are available. So.
All right, I will take a gander at that tonight, and if I can't find anything, I will email the office. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
David, there is a question on the chat. I don't want to bypass those that raise their hands, but it's just, I was typing it, but figured you'd probably clarify better. Just to clarify, coaching younger than U7 does not result in getting reimbursed. I'm guessing that's because there are student coaches providing the training.
Yeah, that's correct. We start our coach incentive program at U7 because at U5, U6, U4, U5, and U6, we have youth coaches who are doing most of the training. They're organizing the practices and that sort of thing. It's also a good way for new coaches to learn a little bit about soccer, little different drills that are available, and that at U7, we're hoping that you'll take on a team and continue with us in the future. So hope that answers your question. We have Jake is up next.
Yeah, hi. First, thank you for the presentation and thanks for volunteering as well. Quick question. I'm going to be co-coaching U11, and I read through the manual already, and says to try to get some other coaches or volunteers. And one position it says is maybe try to get a team manager. What would be the role of the team manager if we've got like a couple of co-coaches?
And a team manager could be somebody that sends out the reminder message to the team every week. Some teams do a halftime snack, oranges, or maybe end of the game popsicles or something like that, the team manager could organize that. It's not a lot that's involved, but it could be something that the coach can designate if you have a parent who's keen to help out but is shy about being on the field or something like that. So, reminder messages and yeah.
Great. Thanks for that context for that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome. We have Carla, I believe.
Hi, thanks so much for the presentation. It's appreciated. I had a question about the game sheet. Is that on your website for us to print out? I took a quick look, but I didn't see it there. Or is that provided by the ref and we fill it out?
No, so we will provide it to you. The age group director will probably send that to you before the start of the season. That's a good question, Carla. We're transitioning from our old website to our new website. Our new website has most of the stuff up there, but not necessarily everything up there at the moment. But yeah, you will have it before the season starts. From probably the age group director will send it out, and you really only need to fill it out once, save it, and then you can print it and then just write the date in, the new date, for example, every time you go and play. So there's no need to type it up. You get an electronic roster as well, so hopefully you'll just be able to cut and paste it into the game sheet. And you fill out, one game sheet, and you hand it to the referee at the beginning of the game.
Perfect. And just one other question for the jerseys. I know it'll be like a home and away team. Do we have different color jerseys for each one, or is it each team has a color and you just wear the same?
So each team has one color, and you just wear that. And we organized it in theory so that there won't be conflicting colors that you're playing in the summertime. Okay. Sometimes at the younger age groups on soccer day, for example, there might be at U5, there might be 30 teams and we don't have 30 different colors. So even on soccer day, we try to work it out so that purple doesn't play purple, for example, right? So.
Sounds good. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Hey, you're welcome. I hope it's been helpful. Maybe we've got a couple of people who were not sure about coaching and maybe you're interested in coaching after the session there. Anyway.
We've got a question from Norman.
Okay, Norman, yeah. Go ahead, Norman. Norman, I can't hear you, on mute.
Oh, hi. So I know too much about soccer. I've coached soccer before I play, and I used to referee. So first of all, let's just need to understand one thing. For the injury during a game, why do we need to fill the forms? The referee will fill a form. So why?
The referee does the incident report, but we'd like you to notify the Dragons office if there's an injury as well, because if the referee doesn't fill out the form, then we have proof that we get it from the coach. Curry, do you want to add something?
Yeah, actually we had a situation last year where a child broke her arm during a practice. We're not going to get a notification like that from a referee. Fortunately, we were notified at the office, but it's always good for us to know. And yeah, some of our referees are young as well and might not necessarily, they would fill out a special incident report, but we wouldn't know the extent of the injury other than some kid hurt themselves. So it's that extension of information that we require.
Perfect. Makes sense. The other one is I've already taken, I think, the fundamentals, if I'm not wrong. Does that count?
If you're coaching the fundamentals age group, for sure.
I've already taken the course, so I think.
Yeah, if you've already taken the course, you just show us your certificate, and that counts. So.
That counts.
Yeah, and in fact, like if you're coaching the same age group for a couple of years, right? Fundamentals is 7-8. So if you happen to do the training this year, not in your case, you've already done it, but if some of the other people listening, they do it at age 7, then it's good for U8 as well. And Soccer for Life, if you're at the older age group, you do it for your children are U14 to U18, you do it once and it's good every year as well. So it counts for the coach incentive program. So if you've already done it, great.
I think I've done the fundamentals and learn to train, and I did the all time the ones before the new program came.
Yeah.
The other thing is, how long does the volunteer check take with the Ottawa Police now?
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks. Last time I did it, that was a couple of years ago.
So it could be, yeah. So what I'm hearing is a couple of weeks. You know, it depends on how busy they are. Obviously, at this time of year, the police get lots of people that are going to volunteer to coach soccer from a whole bunch of different clubs, and they run it through the system. Yeah, so 2 weeks, if you put it in, like, we don't need it before the start of the season, but we certainly would like to have it soon afterwards, because we want to make sure that all of our coaches are, you know, have a vulnerable sector check that's been done, right? Curry, you want something to add?
Yeah, it's important to note that we do need coaches to fill out, if you're interested in coaching, we do need you to fill out the application form. It's a place for you to populate credentials, and if you are looking to get the coach incentive, that's the easiest way for us to track it. So if you do not complete that form, we cannot help you get the incentive. If you do not complete that form, it makes it more difficult for our age group directors to give you back-end access to things like Sports Engine. Finally, and most importantly, if you are populating the application form, we need all the credentials in, and we do have a deadline set. I believe it's July 4th. So that would be my deadline for we need to, ideally we get a police records check before that point, but that's when we need all the information, because we need to consolidate that info to see who's getting what kind of incentive, and to even check the safety and validity of our coaches for our players.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Of course, everything has to be formal, and there's process. There's procedure, there's policy, there's processes and procedures, and they're there for a reason. So fully understand that. So I'll register. The other questions I have is the rule of two. Usually, as a former referee, one of the things we're told is just tell the parents right from the beginning, if you're leaving, you're leaving. It's up to them to figure out anything with the kids.
Yeah, no, I disagree with that, because you can't really, you're not allowed, I don't think, to leave like a 14-year-old kid on the field. Like, everybody leaves and there's a 14-year-old player standing there by themselves waiting for mom and dad to show up. That's not right. So the rule of two is that as a coach, you should grab another parent and wait for that child's parents to show up there for the safety of the kid. It's not the referee's responsibility. Would be the ref.
So what I meant was, when I coached before, so basically at the beginning of the season, you tell the parents, just the parents, to make sure at each practice and each game, there are at least one or two parents. So when you leave the parents, because they already know they have to organize it. They figure it out. You don't get involved.
Yeah, well, so up to and including U12, we require that at least one parent be out the field all of the time for practice in a game. At the older age groups, it's possible, because we play in our communities, that somebody bikes to the field or somebody walks to the field, let's say, or maybe even drives to the field if they're 17 or 18. But we do have a responsibility for the safety of all of our kids. So we abide by the rule of two, and we make sure that all of the kids have safely left the field before the coach leaves, right? So that's one of the things that we ask the coaches to do. You know, very rarely does it happen, because all the parents will show up, and everybody has cell phones now at the older age groups, and they can text mom and dad. But it quite often, you know, what would happen, let's say if a game gets canceled because of lightning, and the parents have dropped off Johnny or Susie at the field and have gone shopping, and the game is canceled, and then they're not back immediately, etc. So
anyway, I'm just saying that. Anyway, what happens for me is that because of that, there was always one or two parents left behind. So it's not, if you make it clear right from the beginning, then it doesn't become an issue. The other thing is the kid I'll be coaching, not my kid, but a relative or an adopted son. They live on one end of town. I live somewhere in the middle, in the city itself proper. Can I request from the office a field somewhere in between Orleans and let's say where I live? somewhere in
Well,
between?
we've only rented the fields from the city of Ottawa in our area. So we have fields in Orleans and Beacon Hill and fields in Leitrim. So we don't have any fields in between. So
No, I know the fields. I know the lead from the
Okay.
Finley Creek. I know your field.
Yeah.
I've coached and I've prepped. Okay, no,
So-
I just want to know how much
Yeah.
you I have. Okay.
generally what we would do is, we try to place the team in the area that they're from. So if the child that you're coaching happens to be in Orleans and all of the other children are in Orleans, then we would assign the team to a field in Orleans instead of sending all of the parents to a field that's close to your house. So we would get you to come down to Orleans. Did Norman leave? I'm not sure.
I'm here. I'm done.
Oh, you're done? Okay, sorry, we're just, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for your question. Any
Thanks
other
for
questions?
the question, the answers? Thank you.
Okay. Oh, we have another question. So it's, I
Steve.
noticed yeah, so Steve, sorry, you're faster than me,
Well,
Corey.
I was gonna write it in the chat. It's a really quick one. If I did a criminal records check with the RCMP last year when I started a new job, and I still have that criminal records check handy, can I submit that, or do I need to do a new one?
Is it a vulnerable sector records check?
It's a fantastic question.
Yeah,
I
we
can
need
take-
a level 3 vulnerable sector check because you're working with children.
Okay, I'll have to take a look. I don't know 100%, but I'll take a look. If not, I'll get it done. Okay, thanks.
If it is one, then we accept it because we did have a question this week in an email from somebody. I already done it for a school board. They volunteered at a school and they got one done, and that counts. So
But that was a police records check. So Steve, if you do want to send us that credentials to info@dragonsoccer.ca, and then I will send it off to David and Ken to deliberate if we're not sure.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah, the records check are also good for 3 years, as I mentioned earlier. So if you get it done now, it's good for 3 years. Hopefully you won't be like me and have another David Lowe who's a bad guy in the world somewhere, and I have to go every year to get my fingerprints done. For some reason, I don't keep them on file, but there you go.
Really? That's happened to you?
Every year I do it. I
Wow.
have to go out, and it's out at, used to be out by IKEA, so
Oh, no.
it's not convenient. Any other questions? We got 8 o'clock. I didn't want to keep people past an hour. It's 8:05, I noticed. So if you have to go, go. But if there's any other questions, happy to take more questions or end the webinar if there are no. We got Alexandra, Wally, and Carla. So Alexandra, over to you.
Hi guys, I'll just make this quick. Thanks for taking the time tonight. It was really clear and fun. I signed up just to see what you guys are all about. And during the meeting, I signed up to help out. I'm just wondering if I did sign up tonight, just to make it clear, between now and Saturday, I'll get some kind of message confirming if I'm involved in my son's team or not, and then I'll know to pick up the thing Saturday.
Yeah, so did you register, did you put in a coaching application tonight? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then we will notice that, and Curry will send it to the age group director responsible for that age group and inform that person that you volunteered to coach with us. What age group would that be?
Much appreciated. U7.
U7, that's Adrian. He's right here in the office, so he's taking note that
I'll see you Saturday.
he said
I'll see you Saturday.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay,
Well,
okay,
thank
you're
you.
welcome. We got Carla, you're up next.
So just a quick question for the vulnerable sector check. Mine's completed. Where do I upload it on the website? Because I can upload my respect and sports certificate, but I don't see where to upload the vulnerable sector check. Or do we mail it in to you guys or send it in?
I'm gonna defer to Curry on that one. She's the one that set up that program.
Yeah, all the conditional formatting made my headache. So let's see here. The coach form, what age group are you signing up for?
U9.
The coach. Pardon?
U10, sorry.
U10. So did you put yourself as the head coach or an assistant coach?
Head coach.
Interesting. So what we can do is we can take that offline. I do have a video of me walking people through the form to populate information after the fact, But essentially how it should work is it should first ask you for division specific credentials, so a certificate, and then it should ask, and you say yes, and then it'll ask you to populate other criteria, including the image of the certificate. Then it will do the same with respect in sport, and then it will ask you if you have a police records check. If you say yes, it will then ask you to upload the image. So it's all based on conditional formatting. So if you say yes, then other questions will populate. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, then we can take the instruction of that offline, and I can book a one-on-one and I can take you through it.
Perfect. That'd be great.
Yeah. Just send me an email.
Perfect. I will. Thanks.
Thanks.
I noticed one quick question in the chat. I'm not available this Saturday. Can I have someone else pick up the equipment? Yes, you can send somebody from your team to pick up the equipment, or let's say your spouse, for example, or somebody else, your neighbor, or whoever you want to pick up the equipment. Just let the age group director know that somebody else is coming to pick up the equipment when you get the message from the age group director. You got Alexander again for another question, I believe. Alexander, is that, you have another question? You're on mute if you have another question, Alexander.
No, sorry, I'm just not very tech savvy and can't put my hand
Okay.
up.
You had a hand cramp, is that it? Yeah, no worries. All right, we might be out of questions, so.
I had a question
Sorry,
there.
okay.
Oh,
One.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Norm. Was it Norman?
It's me, but I'll let.
Sorry. Just a quick question. There's a question in the chat about Jeff is saying that he's trying to do respect in sport, but he's saying that it's asking you to populate the club that you're part of. I've never had that for respect in sport before.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that either, so.
I can let you know in 5 minutes how it works out. Like, it's marked as a required field, and I don't see the Dragons in the list. So
No, because we aren't the Ottawa Gloucester Soccer Club, so
okay.
It never, in respect in sport, it shouldn't ask you what club you are registering under. That's something that happens through Coach Center. But through Respect in Sport, if you're doing Respect in Sport for activity leaders, if you're following the link that's available on the website or the our new website, because I know you were on our old website earlier, and the emails that were sent in about requesting coaches, you should be taken directly to that link. And I've done it before, and it never asks for your club. But we can also take helping you through this offline as well, Jeff. Just feel free to email the office.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for your question, Jeff.
Yeah,
Any other questions?
Yeah, this
Oh,
is
Norman.
Norman. Yeah, sorry, I put a question there in the chat, and it was I guess I pressed too many buttons, and it came across as very important. It's not. Yeah, it's the same question about respect in sport. I took it a few years ago. Do I have to take it? Do I have to retake it, or mine is still valid, or?
It's good for 5 years, I believe. Yeah.
5.
5
Okay.
years.
So if you took it in 2018, you're fine. If you took it in 2017, you need to update it. But to renew your certification for respect in sport, if it's just on the cusp of going expired, it's only $15 to renew instead of 33 or 30, I think.
Okay, thanks.
We do reimburse that too, though. Just keep your receipts.
All right, are we at the end of our questions? So if you have any other questions and you want to send them to us by email, you can find my email and Ken's email under the Board of Directors information, Ken Pedersen, and as the Director of Coach Development, and David Lowe, VP. So send us your questions if you want. We'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, if you're interested in volunteering to be a coach, we'll send you the information about coaching, picking up your equipment on Saturday. Get your fashionable red polo shirt that you'll wear proudly to all of the games and practices to identify you as a coach. And we hope to see you on the field this summer and at our Coach Appreciation Night in the fall. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. I hope it's been informative and you've learned something, and we've maybe triggered your interest to become a Dragons coach. So Right. Have a good night and hope to see you on the field.
Right, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.